Hi, welcome back to EPG. I'm Greg, your host. Today we're going to talk about something a little different than the stuff I've been, talking about before with all the fun stuff on my travels. Given the current kind of state of the world of everything that's going on, I think it's important to discuss, this issue of inflation, bank failures, and economic collapse. For those who haven't really been, watching the news or living under a rock, Friday of last week, Silicon Valley Bank was then seized by the FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, because there was a giant run on the bank, meaning that people were trying to withdraw a whole bunch of money. On Saturday, Signature Bank, same thing happened, and today there are rumblings about Credit Suisse. So the bank contagion has kind of spread across the pond, and people are getting very, very nervous. What if I told you all this happened before? What if I told you this happened multiple times before? So, if you spend any time in Latin America, you will know that currencies aren't incredibly strong compared to other, Western currencies like the dollar, the franc, the euro. And a lot of this kind of inflation problems, bank failures, economic collapses happen in multiple countries. In cases like Peru, they changed their currency from one that was incredibly inflated to another. In Ecuador, they changed their currency entirely to the United States dollar. So money is, passed around in Ecuador in the dollar. But one of the interesting things, probably most interesting, is Argentina. They have had multiple currencies. They haven't gone to the dollar yet, officially. But what if I told you that in Argentina, they tried multiple ways to stem economic collapse? So usually, or at least what happened in 2008 in the United States, we had something called a bailout, which is that the government decided to take taxpayer money and then pay banks with it. So what Argentina did instead was they did a bail-in, where instead of going through Congress, what the government did was they took 50% of people's deposits in their bank accounts and bought government bonds with it. So you can imagine that created quite a stir. Now, one of the things too that you would need to kind of understand about what's going on in Argentina, and I'll just give you an example. When I was there in 2009, it was 60 pesos to the dollar. When I was there in 2019, it was 80 pesos to the dollar. Now, today, in 2023, it is 202 pesos to the dollar. So imagine if you're a pensioner and you've been saving your entire life, just watching that worth evaporate in front of your very eyes. So one of the things, especially when I was there the last time in 2019, that people would do was whenever they got paid, they would go down to the financial district in Buenos Aires and other places, I'm sure, and they would go to change houses. There were people out there called arboles or arbols, and they would stand there and they would, have little tickets saying, yes, go to my change house, make sure that you give this so I can get paid. And they would trade out their Argentine pesos to American dollars. And then they would take that home and they would use that and save it. So just imagine having zero faith in your currency. And that is how you try to, save your wealth from watching it being constantly evaporated. So it's just something to think about, given all the kind of financial turmoil that's going on right now. So yeah, I don't know where this is going to go. I don't think the world knows where it's going to go. But yeah, it's definitely something to think about, especially from a historical context. So I just want to say thank you very much for your time. And yeah, get out there.